Okay, this is I'm getting over a cold. I don't know if you watch my other videos, but usually I'm working on the Trans Am. But I had first hurt my back, then I got this cold. I don't think it's corona, but I can't stand just sitting around doing nothing. So I'm going to keep clearing my throat because I still got remnants of this. But so anybody that's interested and wants to do something, sitting home and they don't want to spend money, this is the cheapest way. And by the way, I upgraded my computer. That means I didn't upgrade. I bought a new one from Costco. This cost $602 on sale. It's a Ryzen 7. Runs this program fast. It's also got a touch screen. It's not a 2-in-1. I bought a 2-in-1 and took it back because I just didn't like it. The touch screen is nice. The writing part that I took back on the other computer, I didn't care for it. So this is what I really needed. I mean, I went through an iPad, a 2-in-1, then I got the iPad again. I couldn't stand the iPad. Too small. You can't run. It's just too small. That's the basic reason. I love my iPhone because it's simple, but for an Apple computer, I can't stand them. So anyway, this is the book we're going to be using. And I'm just going to go through this quick, and I'm not going to be perfect, and I'm not an expert, but somebody that wants to learn programming, you know, maybe you ran out of money, maybe you're stuck at home, maybe you got laid off, who knows. But I encourage anybody, as I said way back in an earlier video about succeeding, you have to do something. You have to learn something. But again, this is just a hobby. So I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. This book right here, Visual Basic 208, you can download it for free from the internet. And then I just copied it to my screen, and I also went into settings, so this PDF file opens in Google Chrome. And the reason I did that is I don't like because they're always trying to get you to upgrade in Adobe. But anyway, here, saying all that, I got to explain a few things. Again, if you're gonna, I suggest this is a good way to do it. Everything's free. But first of all, let me say I'm going to use this book. But you notice there's no page numbers until you get past the introduction part. So I just already know that page 79 is the page is going to take us to page 45. That's where we're starting in this book. So I'm trying to explain this is, I guess, fast and clearly, but I'm probably going to fail. But one of the advantages of this is that you can copy the code right into Visual Basic. I'm calling it Visual Basic because we're using Visual Basic within Visual Studio 2019. Let me also say that there's been upgrades in Visual Studio from 208 to 2019. I mean, that's 11 years. So there will be some little things that I get stuck on I got to figure out because they've added features. But saying all that, I'm spinning the cap on a bottle here. But again, if you're interested, what I like about this is I can copy this code. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but you'll understand it later. I can copy the code which I need to run this. That's going to load these boxes and do all this stuff. And if you have the book, it'll also go into more detail than I'm going to go into. And it explains a lot of what I'm going to not explain. So saying all that, I have two screens. I just bought a screen at a used, I'm in Washington. They take all the state stuff and they take it to a building and they sell everything cheap. I bought this other screen, a big screen, for like $40 a long time ago. So I just dragged that to the screen. Here's the screen recorder I'm using. It's free for 15 minutes at a time. I have another one that I don't like that I paid for. So now, I don't know if you can see this, but I already used up 5 minutes. So I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to open Visual Studio. I'm going to remove this from the list. So we have a brand new, clean Visual Studio. No programs are on it. Create a new project. Okay, this probably will not show up on yours, but if you type in Windows Form app.net up here, it'll show up, because this has a ton of programs that you can do in Visual Studio, different types of things. But this is basically Visual Basic. So next, we're going to call this page 45. We're going to create. Now, as I say, I'm going to drag the code on here, but there is some things you need to do that you can't drag on. So I'm going to go to All Common Controls, and go to Button. I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Now, I want you to notice that it says Button 1, and if you look here, this is the code window, or the formatting window for Button 1, but it says, anyway, it says, so we're going to change that. If you notice, I'll type in math test. If I push enter, it changed up here. We're also going to go to we're going to look at this text. We're going to go to behavior, I think. Let's see, design. We're going to name this, again, if you follow the book, we're going to name this, I'm looking at the book because I can't remember, BTN INT MAT math. Okay. I want that to be small. I'll explain that later. So enter. So now we're going to click the form. Okay, you notice it did not load the button. So we're going to go back. Again, this is a little bit different than 208. We're going to click the button. Okay, that's the code for the form that the button is sitting on. Now I'm going to pause this video, and I'm going to go into that book, and I'm going to paste all the code onto here, and then I'll explain. Okay, I went to the book, I copied all the code out of it, and here it is. It looks pretty complicated, but you can break it up. I'll just do it, for instance, here. So it's really like little buckets, and I'll do it here. I'm not going to do it everywhere. So basically, let's run it. I'll start there. This is loading the program. First of all, I want to say that you notice I was able to copy the code off of a PDF, and Visual Basic was I got a cold, was able to recognize it, which is really handy. So I push the button. It says 24, OK, 22, OK, 60, OK, 2. So basically all that code did that. So if we, again, I highly suggest that you get a book, and if you're going to be watching my videos, this book is going to explain everything that I am going to skip over. And there is going to be some things in the book that aren't covered, and it's going to drive you nuts. You just have to keep searching. But I'm just going to try to keep this basic. But in the book, they explain that if you put a comment here, you can put instructions to yourself. I'm declaring a variable. What does that mean? Well, again, let me be simple. The comma is how you see all this green. They made comments what we're doing. Okay. If I get rid of this comment, let's see what happens. See it turn green. Well, that won't work. We have to put a comma back. Okay, it's green again. So I'm just going to go over one of these buttons. One of these sections of code within that one button on that one form. So dim means, to me, this is a bucket. Okay, so we're taking this in my mind. This reads, remember this bucket as an integer. Okay, so basically it says dim. This is the thing you have to use. And again, there's little hints that you can see lighting up. But dim means it's kind of like giving a name to something. So I'm going to name. You have to write dim. So I'm going to call it integer number. You could call this anything in black. In fact, almost anything in black you can call. These other numbers are code, pre-written code. So remember, integer number is integer, which if you read it, it says represents the 32-bit signed integer. You could look that up. What is that? Look it up. Or get the book. It'll explain it. So we did that. Now we're going to go set number, add numbers, and display results. So the way we're going to set the number is we gave it a name. Now we're giving the name a number. So the name, remember, so I'm going to do it this way. Remember, this name equals 16. Now go down to the next line, and it's saying, remember, this name equals that 16 plus 8. And then we're going message box dot show. You notice it's not in black. Again, you keep seeing this is IntelliSense. And then we have I call this a bucket. So we have these whatever you call them, parentheses. Anything you put in parentheses will show up as text in the button. And so we're message box show this text and the integer number, which is, remember, it's all this. So it's 16 plus 8. And show 16 plus 8 to a string. What is a string? It says converts the numeric value of this instant to an equivalent string representation. Again, get the book. And then I'll also put more text, a comma, integer math. So it should show, going back to this one box, message box show, this is code that Microsoft wrote, this text and this bucket information as a string, and this is not an and. The and is there's a certain word for it, and I can't think of it right now. But to string, again, we know it's converting it to a string representation. Now again, you have to read the book and this. So let's just run it and see what happens. Okay, remember, we're just looking for the first box. Okay, there's the button. By the way, sender as object, E as event. Basically, all this is saying, when you click this button, this stuff's going to happen. And this other stuff, and again, notice this, when we named it, we called it BTN-INT math. And click, so when we click, it's going to send the information. So, okay, I'm trying to do this fast. Now we're out of time. Test. I went too fast. Let me do it again. Okay, it's going to run out of time. But if you go back, yeah, it says integer math.